Triple H has finally broken his silence on the disturbing allegations surrounding former WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, but his comments have sparked more controversy than clarity. When asked about the sexual assault and trafficking allegations tied to McMahon, Triple H's response felt more like a corporate sidestep than a statement of accountability. "All we can do is move forward. Nobody's perfect." Those were the exact words from WWE CEO Paul "Triple H" Levesque during a recent interview, and they've since drawn widespread criticism. To recap, Vince McMahon, once the powerful and untouchable head of WWE, is at the center of a serious lawsuit filed in January 2024 by former WWE employee Janelle Grant. The lawsuit alleges sexual assault and trafficking, painting a disturbing picture of abuse and manipulation within the company's highest ranks. While the legal battle is still underway, negotiations are currently in progress to determine what documents can be submitted as evidence. Documents that could potentially shift the course of the entire investigation. A major development came in early July when Connecticut Superior Court Judge Colleen Zingaro ruled in favor of Janelle Grant's legal team. The judge granted a writ of discovery against Dr. Carlin Kolker and Peak Wellness Clinic, two parties accused of aiding McMahon by administering treatments to Grant that allegedly allowed him to maintain control over her. Both Kolker and the clinic have been ordered to turn over relevant materials, opening the door for new revelations to surface in court. Through all of this, Triple H, who, along with Nick Khan, stepped up to lead WWE after McMahon's resignation, has largely remained silent. But that changed this week during an appearance on The Sports Agents, a UK-based podcast hosted by Gabby Logan and Mark Chapman. There, the WWE Chief Content Officer was asked to directly address the scandal now dubbed the Janelle Grant case. His response? Diplomatic at best, evasive at worst. "Look, all we can do is move forward as a creative company," he said carefully. An allegation is an allegation, right? It's a complicated relationship for everyone in life. Nobody's perfect. Rather than confronting the seriousness of the situation, Triple H leaned into the idea of separating the legal chaos from WWE's creative direction. "There have been accusations made, and this is a whole legal thing that has nothing to do with what we do," he added. "My job is to present the best creative product WWE can produce. And I'm happy it's working." WWE is in an incredible place right now, and it continues to grow. It's a wonderful time for our company, and the fans appreciate it. So we're moving in the right direction. Whether you see it as a strategic dodge or a tone-deaf dismissal, one thing is clear: Triple H isn't touching this legal firestorm. He's focusing on WWE's booming success and publicly distancing himself from the darker side of the company's past. This isn't the first time he's been put in the hot seat over this matter. Back in January 2024, during a media interaction with Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, he was also questioned about the allegations. His answer then was just as evasive, emphasizing that he preferred to focus on the positive aspects of WWE's momentum instead of addressing the elephant in the room. For now, the WWE machine rolls on glossier, louder, and more profitable than ever. But as the legal drama unfolds behind the curtain, many fans and observers are left wondering, how long can the company keep moving forward without reckoning with what lies in its rearview? Triple H's reluctance to address the allegations head-on has ignited a firestorm online. WWE fans, and even some within the wrestling industry, are divided. On one side are those who believe he's simply staying in his lane, focusing on his creative duties and protecting the brand. On the other are fans who see his silence as complicity, or worse, an attempt to sweep a deeply troubling issue under the rug. Social media lit up following the podcast episode. Many fans expressed outrage, calling Triple H's "nobody's perfect" remark both tone-deaf and dismissive. "This isn't about perfection," one user wrote. "It's about accountability. There's a huge difference." Others accused him of hiding behind his job title to avoid confronting the company's disturbing past, especially considering how closely knit the upper echelon of WWE leadership has always been. The backlash isn't limited to fans. Critics in the wrestling media have also weighed in, questioning whether WWE can truly enter a new era while its top executives avoid acknowledging the cloud still hanging over the company. Some have gone so far as to suggest that WWE's public-facing optimism, the booming business, sold-out arenas, and headline-making international shows, is just a glossy distraction from the unresolved legal and moral questions tied to McMahon's legacy. Yet, WWE's popularity has never been higher. Under Triple H's creative leadership, weekly programming is breaking viewership records, and premium live events are selling out in minutes. From a business perspective, the company is thriving, and for WWE, that may be all that matters right now. But not everyone is buying the move forward narrative. The Janelle Grant case isn't just about one man's alleged abuses, it's about the culture that enabled it. A culture that, critics argue, still hasn't fully been held accountable. Despite McMahon stepping down, despite Endeavor's merger with WWE under TKO Group Holdings, and despite new leadership at the helm, the shadows of the past still loom large. Even more troubling is the lack of clarity on what WWE, as an organization, is doing to ensure such abuses never happen again. There have been no public statements outlining reforms, no internal investigations revealed, and no real efforts to rebuild trust beyond the usual corporate PR spin. In fact, much of WWE's messaging since McMahon's departure has been centered around distancing itself from the man, not necessarily owning up to what took place under his leadership. To many, it feels like a missed opportunity. The company had a rare chance to lead by example, to show fans and employees alike that it was serious about transparency, justice, and creating a safer environment. Instead, statements like Triple H's, vague, deflective, and loaded with euphemisms, only reinforce the perception that WWE is more interested in protecting its brand than confronting its demons. And perhaps that's why this story won't go away. As the legal proceedings around the Janelle Grant case continue, more details are likely to emerge. More names could be implicated. More documents could surface. And with Judge Zingaro's recent ruling, that process may accelerate in the coming months. If the court grants full discovery access to Grant's legal team, WWE's most carefully guarded secrets could soon become public record, including details about how deeply Vince McMahon's behavior was known or tolerated within the company. For now, WWE's strategy is clear: keep the show going, keep the spotlight on the ring, and hope the courtroom drama doesn't spill too far into the arena. But the fans are watching. The media is watching. And if the past is any indication, silence won't make this story disappear. It will only make the reckoning louder when it finally arrives. Behind the curtain, the mood inside WWE is far more complex than the polished public image lets on. While WWE continues to present a united front, insiders describe an unspoken tension backstage, a mix of unease, frustration, and, in some cases, quiet outrage. According to sources close to the locker room, several WWE talents have privately expressed discomfort over the company's handling of the Vince McMahon scandal. While none have gone on record, likely due to fear of jeopardizing their careers, some have reportedly questioned why management hasn't taken a firmer stance or addressed the issue with more transparency internally. One veteran performer, speaking anonymously, said, "There's this unspoken rule: don't talk about Vince. Everyone's walking on eggshells, pretending like none of this is happening, even though we all read the same headlines. It's like we're expected to keep smiling for the cameras while the foundation shakes underneath us." Others have pointed out the inconsistency between WWE's progressive, family-friendly branding and the serious nature of the allegations at its core. Wrestlers, especially women, are said to be quietly discussing what the future holds, not just for the brand, but for the company culture itself. Can WWE claim to champion empowerment and safety when its top leadership continues to sidestep accountability? Internally, some employees hoped that the post-Vince era would usher in meaningful change. After McMahon's retirement in 2022, which turned out to be more of a temporary leave than a true exit, optimism grew when Triple H and Nick Khan stepped in to lead. Morale for a time soared. Creative freedom returned. New stars were given chances. And locker room morale improved significantly. But the latest developments have deflated that hope for some. Triple H's refusal to directly address the seriousness of the situation, even behind closed doors, according to some sources, has left parts of the WWE team feeling abandoned in a moral gray area. One female wrestler reportedly confided to a colleague, "It's hard to stand in the ring and deliver a promo about respect and loyalty when you're not even sure your company respects the truth." And yet, for many performers, speaking out isn't an option. WWE contracts are notoriously strict, and talent, even the biggest names, are well aware that pushing back too hard against the machine can come at a steep price. After all, Vince McMahon may no longer be in the building, but his influence still lingers like a ghost in the halls of Stamford. Even newer stars, those brought in during WWE's most recent talent expansions, are learning quickly how the system works: perform, promote, and above all, don't poke the bear. For many of them, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Few are willing to risk it by challenging a culture that still, in some ways, protects its old guard. But the unease isn't just limited to the talent. Some WWE staff, particularly those in marketing, communications, and public relations, are reportedly feeling the pressure of balancing brand growth with damage control. Every public appearance, every interview, every post-show press conference is a tightrope walk. And behind the smiles and corporate lingo lies a growing fear. What happens if this case explodes? There's also a quiet acknowledgement that WWE's relationship with its fanbase is on shaky ground. Many longtime fans have expressed disillusionment, especially those who once celebrated the company's evolution under Triple H. For them, his recent comments feel like a betrayal, not just of the truth, but of the promises WWE made when it claimed to be entering a new era. And that's the problem WWE can't seem to shake. As long as the McMahon case remains unresolved, and as long as its leadership refuses to confront it head-on, the company's image, no matter how shiny on the surface, will remain stained in the eyes of many. Every new championship crowned, every stadium show celebrated, and every sold-out arena is now accompanied by a whisper, "But what about Vince?" And for some in WWE, that whisper is starting to sound like a scream. Outside the WWE bubble, the ripple effects of the Vince McMahon scandal are beginning to cause real concern, especially among media outlets, sponsors, and WWE's powerful corporate parent, TKO Group Holdings. Publicly, Endeavor, the company that merged WWE with UFC to form the sports and entertainment powerhouse TKO, has kept a low profile regarding the lawsuit. But make no mistake, the leadership at Endeavor is watching every development closely. CEO Ari Emanuel, once a vocal supporter of McMahon, had previously tried to distance the company from McMahon's legal woes by pressuring him to step aside during early merger discussions. It worked for a time. But now, with the Janelle Grant case gaining traction and new legal documents being reviewed by the courts, TKO executives are faced with a dilemma. WWE is a golden goose. It delivers massive TV rights deals, record-breaking PLE viewership, and global brand recognition. Yet, no amount of success can fully shield a company from the fallout of scandal, especially one involving trafficking and abuse of power. Some industry analysts have already speculated that if explosive new evidence emerges, particularly anything that implicates current WWE executives in a cover-up or negligent behavior, Endeavor might be forced to take drastic action to protect shareholder interests. That could mean stricter oversight, forced resignations, or even the sale of McMahon's remaining shares in the company. Financial institutions are taking note too. After the lawsuit became public in early 2024, TKO's stock took a modest hit, not catastrophic, but noticeable. The dip reflected investor anxiety over potential long-term damage to WWE's reputation. And now that a judge has allowed further discovery in the case, those concerns are being quietly reignited on Wall Street. Then there's the media and the narrative they're beginning to shape. Major outlets like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and BBC have all reported on the lawsuit. But as the case inches closer to trial and more damning details emerge, expect broader and more aggressive coverage. Netflix, which is set to stream Raw starting in 2025, has not commented publicly on the allegations. But internal sources say conversations have taken place about brand safety and public perception, especially as the streaming giant prepares to integrate WWE into its global platform. Netflix, like other key partners, operates in a high-stakes public environment. It's not just about ratings anymore, it's about optics. And being associated with a brand entangled in a trafficking lawsuit is the kind of PR nightmare no company wants. If sponsors start to pull back, even quietly, the domino effect could be significant. WWE's corporate partnerships, from energy drink companies to gaming platforms to Saudi-backed mega events, are built on stability and public trust. Once that trust erodes, even slightly, the long-term consequences could be severe. Already, some marketing insiders are warning that companies may begin reassessing their involvement if WWE fails to issue a stronger, clearer stance on the McMahon allegations. So far, WWE's approach has been one of compartmentalization: keep business booming, keep TV deals rolling in, and leave the legal drama to the courts. But as scrutiny builds and Triple H's non-committal answers make the rounds, that strategy is beginning to show cracks. And it raises a pivotal question for WWE's future: can the company truly thrive? Or even survive at its current level if it refuses to clean house? Because in the eyes of critics, it's not just Vince McMahon on trial. It's the system that empowered him for decades. And unless that system is publicly addressed, reformed, and held to account, WWE's future could be built on a very fragile foundation. The stakes are massive. WWE is entering its most ambitious commercial phase ever: new international expansion, historic TV deals, and a long-term plan to become the global face of sports entertainment. But all of that could unravel quickly if the company fails to get ahead of this crisis. Not just legally, but morally. There's still time to act, to speak plainly, to apologize, to reform, to stand with the victims and ensure WWE is truly safe for everyone, from its employees to its fans. But that time is running out. And every silent shrug, every corporate dodge, every nobody's perfect response makes it harder to believe that change is coming. As the legal storm surrounding Vince McMahon intensifies, WWE now stands at a dangerous crossroads. The outcome of the Janelle Grant lawsuit could send shockwaves through not just the wrestling industry, but the entire sports entertainment landscape. Depending on how the court rules and what evidence is ultimately revealed, several paths lie ahead. And not all of them end well for WWE. Scenario 1. The court rules in favor of Janelle Grant. If the court finds that Vince McMahon did, in fact, engage in trafficking and sexual assault, and if it's proven that others within WWE enabled or turned a blind eye to his behavior, the consequences could be devastating. We're talking beyond headlines. We're talking about federal investigations, sweeping internal purges, and potentially even the removal of key WWE leadership. A ruling in Grant's favor could also lead to an avalanche of additional lawsuits. Once one survivor receives justice, others may feel emboldened to come forward. And given McMahon's long and often unchecked reign of power, there could be more victims. Many more. WWE could find itself buried in litigation with millions, if not billions, of dollars at stake. In this scenario, sponsors will pull out. Media partners will question their deals. And Endeavor may be forced to distance itself completely, even selling off WWE to limit reputational damage. Triple H and Nick Khan would face immense pressure to resign or publicly apologize. It wouldn't just be a crisis. It would be a full-scale collapse. Scenario 2. A quiet settlement is reached. This is perhaps the most likely and most WWE-like outcome. The case disappears behind closed doors. Documents are sealed. A financial settlement is reached, and everyone walks away with a non-disclosure agreement. WWE returns to business as usual. But while this might spare the company from the courtroom spotlight, it won't protect them from public scrutiny. In fact, a settlement without accountability could inflame the backlash. Fans will know the truth was buried. Journalists will dig harder. Sponsors will grow uneasy. And internally, employees may begin to revolt. Whispers of a toxic culture may finally turn into something louder, something organized. WWE may survive this scenario, financially and structurally, but its soul will remain in question. And Triple H's legacy, once poised to represent the company's redemption arc, may be permanently stained. Scenario 3. McMahon is cleared. WWE claims victory. If somehow, Vince McMahon walks away legally unscathed and no wrongdoing is proven in court, WWE may try to claim vindication. They'll tighten the narrative, paint McMahon as misunderstood, rewrite history. Business will proceed with renewed momentum. But even in this victory, the cost could be immeasurable. Because while a courtroom may declare a man innocent, public opinion doesn't operate by legal standards. The allegations have already been aired. The images are already in people's minds. The doubts already planted. For a generation of fans, especially women and younger viewers, the trust may never return. And that trust is the foundation upon which all entertainment is built. Even in McMahon's legal clearing, WWE's moral compass will still be questioned. Questions will still linger about Triple H's evasive comments. About who knew what. About what else remains hidden. The wild card, the locker room revolts. This is the scenario no one in WWE wants to think about, but it's no longer unthinkable. If enough top talent grows disillusioned with how WWE is handling the case, they could speak out. Or worse for the company, walk out. A few public